So yeah, a couple days ago, Lucid had their global reveal where they showcased their pricing, their specs, and what to expect essentially with the future of their vehicles lineup. And to be honest, I knew Lucid was going more for the luxury segment. I knew their cars were going to be more expensive. I guess the reason I'm a little bit overwhelmed was because I didn't realize how much more expensive they were going to be, and that's partially my fault. I probably should have realized that, okay, look, they're really trying to compete with the Mercedes S-Class market, not directly with Tesla, and anyone who thinks this is kind of direct Tesla competition really doesn't have much of a clue on what Tesla's goal and what Tesla's market is versus what Lucid's goal and Lucid's market is. Now, there's a whole lot of similarities between these two companies, which is why I think it's easy to confuse the two and think they're competitors. I mean, even just watching their event, which was very, very technical, and they got into all the nitty-gritty details of the interior, the materials, and exactly how everything was designed and laid out, and the color palettes they were basing the car off of. They get really, really deep into the design of the car, which was cool to watch, but once we start getting into the timelines and the prices, I think it made more and more sense to me that this is really not so much a Tesla competitor as it is just a very, very high-end luxury electric car company, which is good. I'm not against that. I'm rooting for Lucid. I'm glad to see their technology, their energy breakthroughs, and the aerodynamics, the energy efficiency, and the designs are cool. You know, design stuff is all very subjective. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of that back end of the car and the front end. I don't know, it carries a resemblance to a lot of cheaper sports cars that I've seen around my hometown a lot, which is why, I don't know, something about it doesn't scream uniqueness to me. It just kind of looks bland and generic. And the interior is very well built, and I'm sure has very high quality materials, and seeing that really wide 5K display behind the steering wheel is awesome and everything, but I guess I'm just more of a Tesla fanboy because I've gotten so used to just having that one singular tablet in the center of the car and going with a more clean look, and I'm not one to care much about having physical dials and knobs. Some people care about that, and that's good for you. I'm sure the market Lucid is catering towards probably does appreciate that type of thing, but in my opinion, Cybertruck is kind of peak interior for me. Just very clean, very minimal. No, I don't need physical knobs and dials and that kind of thing, and basically, the more simple you can make it, the better, you know, as a minimalist mindset. But all of that, of course, is very, very subjective, but in case you didn't already hear, the first Lucid Air, the Dream Edition, which will be coming out in early 2021, it will have a range of 503 miles, which is insanely good, and it's going to start at $169,000. Now, you do get a federal tax credit, which knocks off about $7,500, but when you're buying that expensive of a car, all that tax credit really does is put a little bit of a dent into the taxes and registration. But definitely very, very high-priced vehicle, that's for sure. And then what's coming in summer of 2021 is the Air Grand Tour Edition. So this one has a little bit less horsepower. So the Dream Edition has over 1,000 horsepower, whereas the Air Grand Touring has just 800 horsepower. I know, only 800 still. It will be insanely fast, I'm sure. But this one actually goes a little bit further at 517 miles of EPA estimated range. And this one is $139,000. So I guess you save a few tens of grand, but still absolutely in that high price segment. And then the Air Touring is the next step down, and this one just has over 400 miles of range and 620 horsepower, and it's going to be starting at $95,000. So now we're finally getting into the sub $100,000 market, but one day, eventually, in 2022, they wanted to just launch the Lucid Air. There's no subtext or anything, it's just called the Lucid Air, and this one should be starting somewhere below $80,000, and that's finally 2 years from now where they'll start reaching somewhat close pricing to the Tesla Model S, which is, I think, what everyone is comparing this to. And in my opinion, that's why it makes no sense to call Lucid a Tesla killer or to say that they're direct competition with Tesla, because while they have so many similarities, I mean, Lucid's already showcasing these like power walls that you'll be able to buy, and they're talking about vehicle to grid technology so that the Lucid cars will be able to power your home during an outage. All things that Tesla has talked about wanting to do, and even during the event, Lucid said, our mission, our goal at the company is to accelerate sustainable transport. There was a bunch of quotes during that live stream that felt like they were directly lifted from Tesla. But that's a good thing, okay? I'm a big fan of Tesla, and I'm a fan of the vision, so if there's more companies behaving like Tesla, I'm all for it. I think this is a good thing. But in my opinion, it's almost a little bit unfortunate that Lucid has this game-changing motors, and they have this great power efficiency, awesome aerodynamics within the Lucid Air that allows them to have have not just a giant battery pack that lets them go further, it's only 13% larger when it comes to energy density than the Model S battery pack, but it's able to take it like almost 20% further, which means that they have accomplished an energy efficiency that's close to that of like the Standard Range Plus Model 3, except it's got a much larger battery pack than that vehicle, and that's how it can beat the 500-mile range mark, which is awesome. I'm glad also that they're including 3 years of free Electrify America charging access, which when you're spending this kind of money on a car, I'm kind of surprised they didn't want to do just free for life. I mean, a lot of Model S's and Model X's got free unlimited supercharging originally. I don't think they're offering it anymore, but Model S's and X's don't reach, $170,000. You think they could just say, you know what, free charging at any Electrify America station, but no, I guess they can't quite afford that. So the unfortunate thing to me is that with this breakthrough in efficiency and aerodynamics, it would be kind of nice, in my opinion, if you could actually start matching the range of everyday electric vehicles like the Model Y or the Model 3, just in that 250 to 300 mile mark. But because you don't need as big a battery pack, you can put in a smaller battery, which of course helps with energy efficiency, and also the battery pack is the most expensive part of the car. So you could save a lot of money and potentially build a cheaper car than what Tesla is offering, and then we would have some serious EV competition to talk about. But it's sad to me that the company that has the better energy efficiency and has the best range in any electric car currently, assuming Tesla doesn't beat it at battery day, that is totally possible, they're also trying to be the same company that is overly luxurious and super into the extreme high-class vehicle. They want to go all out on the interiors and the materials used and that kind of thing, because it's like, well, dang it, what we were really looking for in the EV space would be someone with better energy efficiency than the Teslas, and that way you could start undercutting Tesla, and I think that would be super interesting if they had comparable range for less money. But instead, they're using that extra overhead, now that they don't have to spend as much money on batteries, to put it towards really fancy, luxurious vehicles. So it's a market, we want to get everybody over to electric, so I appreciate what Lucid is doing, and I'm not saying I wish they didn't exist. I'm simply stating that it would be really, really interesting to see how Lucid could handle the under $50,000 car market. And right now it feels like it's going to be really, really difficult to see them hit that price point eventually. I mean, 2 years from now, they're hoping to get close to the Model S, which is like less than 5% of Tesla's sales today. Most Teslas sold are in the $50,000 price market, so it's probably not going to be until 2024 or 2025 that Lucid is actually able to sell a car that cheap that could be on par with Tesla's bread and butter, like the Model 3, Model Y, and eventually the Cybertruck will be out by then and potentially starting around $40,000. So variety is good, competition is good, but frankly, I don't really see this as Tesla competition right now unless you're in the market for a $100,000 plus vehicle. But it'll also get really, really interesting if we end up seeing the Model S Plaid before the end of this year, and then we'll have more direct comparisons to make between the two vehicles, because they'll be closer in price and likely closer in performance and range, and right now they just really shouldn't be compared, because Lucid, for the foreseeable future, basically for the next year, they're only going to have cars that are over 100 grand, and quite substantially over 100 grand. So awesome vehicles, Lucid. Keep up the great work. Keep making your awesome cars, and I'd love to know more about Project Gravity. Yes, they unveiled their electric SUV, but also on their website say it's not going to come out for another 3 years. So yeah, we got some waiting before we actually get some more details or numbers on that electric SUV, but I'm very curious to know more about it. What are you guys most interested or most curious about when it comes to Lucid's vehicles? Feel free to let me know. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.